participants, so the total community is probably, if you count in all the students and everybody, on the order of 250. But of course, not everybody is using the code all the time, so I'm not quite sure what the metric is. But I think the people affected by CIG work is probably on the order of hundreds, not thousands.
What is a typical salary of a software engineer? Is it in the postdoc range of salaries, or it's like the software companies with salaries are?
Well, it's probably in between. I do not know. I should know because I've seen the budget, but we're probably talking postdoc and a half to two postdocs salaries.
So it's basically a professorial salary.
Yes. Oh, particularly if you're on the West Coast, then you need to come up with reasonable money. Yes. So this is one of the reasons to actually call it house something in the Midwest, because salaries. They had 5 or 6 at the time. For roughly about 5 or 6 codes. So there's and that was kind of grown out of the user community that all had, well, we want this, we want that, and none of them have matched so far in great detail. That's the ongoing work. But essentially we're looking at about 5. You can divide everything by 5.
I just wanted to reiterate a point you made, make sure we all absorbed it, because I think it was a really nice one. I sit on the review committee for the NSF supercomputing time, the TeraGrid, and I think if, as a community, you set up codes, you make sure they're there, you make sure you benchmark them in the right way, you even can provide sort of text and resources for that. As a community, you give everybody who's writing proposals to them a huge advantage. And as a reviewer there, we certainly, I think, respond positively to that, to people who are using their codes in a smart way, which is sort of the primary issue. And I think that could be a great way to just, as a community, get some cycles that are out there already, and could be very useful to us. So that's nice.
So do you have a single code doing all, like core dynamics, mental dynamics, heart movement, all those? So it's a single code handles everything, or do you have multiple codes?
No, they're all separate codes, it's very hard to integrate these things in a consistent manner because of the difference in time scales, length scales. So you need to work somehow on essentially linearizing the system and let the codes talk to each other. The core dynamics, by the way, it's in they pick up on that. That's been a community that we've had a hard time engaging fully, and so their code is a very simple one compared to the complexity that they can deal with in their core Dynamo, but they're not willing to share that because I think they're too sensitive about other people. It's probably too competitive for sharing at the moment, and so hopefully we will be able to get there at some point.
So maybe you can answer this. What's your total budget? What's your budget history? And what's your perception of prospects for notable budgetary expansion? I know you're on a 2010 or 2009 to 2014 cycle, I think.
It just started, so so 4 years from now we'll be looking at the renewal and
Right.
with big 5-year in place. So the total budget is 1.6 times 5 is $8 million over the 5-year period. That is a little bit up, but not much. We went in with a request that was about the same, with some arguments for inflation correction, but there was no increase in expansion. If there's a totally new community that comes into this, I think the prospect of it are better than if the same community goes in and says we need more money.
Yeah.
So
you're on a whole different renewal cycle is the thing. So you're not doing a renewal in the short term. So it would be a supplementary proposal.
Yes, I think NSF would be open to supplementary requests to. Yeah.
You mentioned that the CIG have a different working group and to set priority, and so those groups are connected, kind of work together, connect with the common needs for the same kind of code, so they work on the same type of code. So that's set up as
To give you an example, I'm on the mantle convection work group. And so what we do is propose improvements to the central vehicle for mantle convection modeling. And one of the big changes that has happened over the last 3 or 4 years is that we're doing compressible convection much better. The Earth is a little bit compressible because the self-gravitation density of the material goes up. Not very much compressible, but I think we've gotten to the understanding that we really need to use compressible codes for this. So we've worked over the last 3-4 years in a relatively informal manner to develop benchmarks, to develop understanding about the theory that goes into that, and that has led to the software engineers actually implementing this in the base code. So it's a bit of a grounds up work that we come with a plan to the science steering committee and the executive committee, and they say, okay, this proportion of the time can be allocated to do this type of work. So that's the kind of way it works. That somebody needs to set the priorities. That is just not me saying, well, I want this particular Meek-Green-Eyes an equation of state, but somebody tells me, how I did this fourth order Birch-Mernigan is far more important. You know, okay, those are actually relatively simple, but it depends on just, there needs to be a weighing of the importance of these various projects before it's assigned to the software engineer.
So when the CIT assign this technical support, the co-developer to go to the different group, then the group divided them among themselves, or they go to specific project individually. So my question is that when, let's say, okay, when we provide the co-development support with the computer software engineer help, so the CIT gives, say, okay, you have one for the mental convention group, one for the.
Yeah, that has been the distribution over the last 5 years at Caltech. And so we're going to see how this is going to change, because this is a good opportunity with the move to UC Davis. It's a good opportunity to kind of reassess how the software engineers are working together, or whether they stay maintained within these communities. So that's an act in progress. We have massive turnover right now on the science steering committee and on the executive committee, so elections are coming up on that. So there will be, I think there will be a bit of a refocusing of what CIG does.
So software engineers are centralized at one institute, let's say Caltech. It's not distributed among.
There was a subcontract to Argonne National Lab for development of people involved with PETSI, but I'm not sure that subcontract is still in there.
It's all sort of belong to the community, right? It's not like, say, work for Caltech.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. No. This is a major sacrifice on the part of Lewis Kellogg's time and on part of Mike Gurnis's time. They in principle benefit from having the co-locations for the people that can work with it, but the amount of time that they're sinking into the community effort is enormous. So it's not a light-hearted choice to be taken to become director of one of these institutes if you want to make it successful. If you want to do it for your own, it's going to be very short-lived.
One last question. CIT has started in 2004.
Yes.
That's when it started. And has gone through a reincarnation recently.
Right.
So it's revamping.
Well, there was a new proposal that tried to focus on integrating the parts better, which was successful within the review cycle. So it's a continuation with a slight refocusing without changing its core mission.
Interfacing with other communities is loose.
Yes. Yes, there was no promise made that we're going to spend this much on the budget to go to compressed meetings and offer our help. Yes.
Comes from EAR,
It-
from, major research
ye-
instrument.
I would think EAR. Let me ask that question to Luis, but I'm pretty sure it's EAR. I'm pretty sure. No, I'm pretty sure it's EAR. But let me. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's EAR. But let me check.
I'm on the
Science
website,
could
it
be
is EAR.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Science could be a substantial source.
Yes. Yes. There are other funding opportunities, but of course, the more funding opportunities you go to, the more reviewers you have to deal with, the more communities and the panels you have to deal with. So it can be a blessing, it can be a burden, or both.
All right.
Thank you.
So we